funny enough, the one garden bed that receives the least amount of sun of all my garden beds is very, very, very lush with foliage. But not much else has happened here, unfortunately. It's not a great bed for a lot of things, I think. Maybe lettuces next year, but we'll see. The wasabi radishes I grew, they're producing very pretty flowers and maybe some very nice seeds, but there aren't any radishes underneath. They're just long, whatever they are. These are Alaska peas. They've just started growing their pods, so you know what? There's always some success, always some success. The spinach went to shit. Sorry about my language, but that's exactly what it looked like. So we won't even talk about the spinach. And, oh, down in there, there's some marigolds growing. I got dill over there too. I'll give you a better view later. My cilantro is still doing fine here though. Cilantro's still doing fine. I will have to cut this up soon and use it because it bolts pretty quickly. I got a little, this is a, what is it? Oh, this is a cantaloupe. It's always got some flowers on it. Still very small, but you know what? Give it time. Still early. It's only like mid-June. The bird bath. There's my dill. I don't even know why why I'm growing it, because I did pluck out about 100 or so of these little plants growing in the garden from seeds that I let disperse. We invested in a big ass rainwater tank for watering the garden. These are little leftovers here. I have one more watermelon to plant in the greenhouse. And this is just an extra in case one of the other watermelons didn't live up to its name. Now, you saw how small my celery was in the garden, and this is what it looks like in these pots. And this is what I called my volunteer celery to, I have to still transplant it into bigger pots though, because I'm going to try and get seeds from these next year. But I did start growing some, this is Utah tall celery in here. Some of it's doing quite nicely. I will have to transplant that. I think I will put it in pots too though. I actually tried lavender, and these are the only 4 that have survived. So right now, let them be. And I always tell you that, oh, one of my rosemaries died. Frig. I always have trouble trying to grow rosemary, and I've only got 2 plants. So I'm babying these guys. I'll put them in pots, and I think they're going to end up living in the house over the winter because they definitely won't make it into the garden this year. And then there's some sweet marjoram, which is, I had more, but they all died too. The thyme, doing great. And that comes back year after year, so that'll be a good thing to keep like that. Down here, these are my volunteer parsnips and carrots for seeds for next year. So I don't care that they grow big or anything, I just want them to grow, and then I'll overwinter them in the pot and see if I get seeds next year. So that'll be an update about 6 months or so from now, I guess. And I got basil everywhere, but I love basil. I love it. These are late, but I had a really hard time with my honeydews this year. So I've got one in this pot here, and then I have 2 more in this one. So one is doing great, not so nice looking, but you never know. And that one's iffy too, but we'll see. And then I have pumpkins. Now the pumpkins are going to live in the back patch behind the tomatoes over there. Sorry, potatoes back there. That's where they live. But I wanted these to grow a bit bigger and be stronger because there's a lot of bird activity back there, and they'll rip the crap out of this. So I thought, give them a chance to grow nice and big and strong. And this is a combination of rehab and stuff I'm trying to grow for seeds. Excuse me, my mint. This is the one grapevine that it looked like it had died, but the roots are still like very good. So I just put it here, I keep watering it, and I'll see what happens with it. These are the tomatoes that I collected. The original plants were growing out of my compost bin. So this one, I think this is the one. Is this the first year? No. Where's my original? This is the original one. This is what I called Kim's compost, because I don't know what they are, to be honest with you, because they're just grown from seeds in the compost bin. So this was the first one I took seeds from. And then that was not last year, but the year before. Last summer, I collected seeds for these ones. Now this one grew out of the compost bin as well, but it grew on the south side of the bin, so I called it Southern Compost. And then Juan had taken a scoop full of compost, put it in a pot, and he just let whatever tomato plants grew out of it. And there was literally hundreds of them. So one plant produced some tomatoes that we couldn't eat, but it was, it was about maybe this big, really. And I collected those seeds, and so this is a Wonderland bush. It's actually bigger than the rest of them. So, like I said, they're more than likely they're probably like the hothouse tomatoes that I get in the grocery store in the wintertime, because I don't have much luck with tomatoes in the wintertime. So, I guess we'll see what happens with them. More basil. That's just me growing basil. That's nothing. Now this pot of lettuce, I know it doesn't look great here, but I was just kind of letting it grow because I did have lettuce in pots last year, and I was gonna collect seeds from them, and I never did, so I just left them. And I had this pot sitting by the greenhouse, and then the next thing you know, I see a plant growing out of it. So I'm letting it grow. I have to trim back some of this younger stuff though, because it, to me, honestly, it looks like a half decent friggin' lettuce that we can eat. This is some volunteer shallots that I'm going to try and do, like I said, seeds for next year. And these are yellow Spanish onions for the same reason. Now, interesting enough, I was almost 100% certain that the 3 plants I put in here were leeks. But this is not a leek. This is not a leek. This is an onion, and I don't know what type of onion it is. Like, I'm pretty sure it's not. Yeah, this is not leek. This is onion. These 2 are leeks. These are a different type of leek also, but this is definitely an onion. So somewhere I screwed up. So I guess I'm going to see what kind of onion it is, eh? And then these were just leftover cabbages with some onion plants in them that are doing quite beautifully. Like, this one's actually starting to form its head. This one slowly, and this one is starting too. Well, there's always like little surprises around the garden. And oh, there it is. I'm trying to grow like the little shoots off a sweet potato, because I will try and grow sweet potatoes in the greenhouse later on. Oh, there's another one right there too. Now it'll be like a overwinter thing, because they take a long time apparently, and so I won't have any for like into summer season, but I thought I'll put them in pots and I'll see what happens. You can never know until you try, right? And then, of course, lots of mint. Lots of mint. Oh, very minty smelling. Love the smell of mint. This year I'm promising myself I'm going to cut leaves and I'm going to make mint jelly. Mint jelly this year. So that's kind of the rehab and experimental learning curve plantings here. And I guess the last thing to show you would be just what's in the front garden, because it's not that it's forgotten, I guess it's kind of my sort of a backup garden. I keep mostly herbs there, and the 2 garden beds there are things that don't necessarily fit in this garden bed. But that's another video.